Hi everyone, welcome back to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith. Luke and I are going to be having another Marvel Dice Masters duel, but this time we're going to be bringing a full tournament team each and using 20 life instead of 15 life and the basic teams we featured in the last playthrough. This time around though, we wanted help picking the teams. So over on BoardGameGeek, I posted a poll for a few days asking people to choose from all of the available characters which ones they would like to see us use. I've collected that information and I'm going to present to you now the cards that we've chosen from the characters that were voted on. We're going to start with Luke's team, so join me at the table and let's take a look. When Beast mutates 666 blocks, you draw one die and place it in your prep area. Unless it's showing the character side with the burst symbol, in which case you draw 2 dice, place one in your prep area and one in your used pile. So this is a way to bolster the dice you're going to get to roll in your next turn. And with the burst effect, effectively cull a die from your bag during your next draw. Luke used this gambit in our last matchup, and that's because this effect is one of his favorites. When you feel the gambit die, you may draw and roll a new die from your bag. If the burst symbol is showing, you get to draw 2 dice, roll one of them, and place the other one back in your bag. So this is just a great way to perhaps get additional energy or just some more options during your turn. Nightcrawler Circus Freak is one I'm going to have to be especially careful of, because after assigning blockers but before resolving damage, Nightcrawler will automatically knock out one of the blockers assigned to him. Now if I want to eliminate Nightcrawler, I'm going to have to assign at least 2 blockers to him. And no matter which one Luke removes, the other one is going to have to be able to finish the job. Slim Cyclops, along with being a fantastic tongue twister, I'm serious, try saying it 5 times fast, also knows how to deal with multiple blockers because he deals his full attack damage to each of them instead of having to split them up. Rogue Anna Marie has a very interesting effect. When you field her character die, you may then capture an opponent's action die from their used or reserve pool. Then when Rogue attacks, you can use that action die for free, but you have to ignore any burst effects that it might have. Then after the attack step, you return that action die to the used pile of your opponent. Charles Francis Xavier, Professor X, is going to use his incredible powers to shut your team down. While one of his die are active, your opponent can't field any characters unless they spend 2 life to remove that ability for the rest of the turn. Although he costs 6 energy to put in your dice bag, Wolverine Knucklehead is well worth it because when he attacks alone, he's unblockable. Even at his lowest level, this means he will do 5 damage to your opponent. That's a quarter of their life. They say he's the best he is at what he does, and this card certainly supports that. He may be the most expensive character on Luke's team, but if at least one Colossus is active, then at the end of Luke's turn, each one of his level 2 or higher characters will automatically deal 2 damage to me. A great use for a bunch of defensive characters you aren't planning on attacking with. Just sit them back in your field and rack up the damage. Having more than one Colossus fielded, though, doesn't double or triple this effect. Here's the first of Luke's 2 chosen basic action cards. Power Bolt deals 2 damage to one target character or player. Gearing Up simply allows you to draw 2 dice from your dice bag, roll them, and place them in your reserve pool. So that's Luke's team, and I have to say, despite having, I think, over 200 different voters, this is a very cohesive, thematic team. They're all X-Men. My team, however, well, let's take a look. Starting off, I have Black Widow, and I love this card, so this was a great pick. When Black Widow attacks, she just automatically deals 2 damage to your opponent. Now Luke can prevent this if he has a level 2 or higher character that he's willing to spin down 1 level. Punisher on a team with Black Widow? Actually, that makes perfect sense to me. And this Punisher, when it's assigned to attack, automatically gets to knock out an opponent's character, unless that player is willing to spend 2 life. So really, it's a win-win either way for me. Now we're going to add to this Deadpool, which is a little funny, but Punisher and Black Widow have both had pretty troubled pasts, and Deadpool certainly fits into that category, so maybe he kind of makes sense on this team. When he attacks, you get to choose one of your opponent's characters to block him. So this might be a nice way to snipe a specific character you'd like to see removed from the field. Captain America, the American hero, is certainly going to be fine working with Black Widow. And although I wouldn't say he has respect for Frank Castle, I think he's learned to tolerate the Punisher at the very least, and they have a shared history of being war veterans. Deadpool? Well, maybe Captain America's been brought in here just to keep him in line. And when I field him, I get to roll a sidekick die from my used pile. But this can't be a sidekick die that was used to pay for the fielding cost of that Captain America die. And this is where my team starts to go off the rails, but let's see if I can save this thematically. We all know from time to time the X-Men characters have had to be dealt with by the other characters, no less the Avengers. And sometimes it takes one to know one. So maybe my team has hired on longtime antagonist of the X-Men, Magneto, to get some of their secrets. And he will get +2 attack and +2 defense when engaged with an X-Men character. Okay, I don't know what Captain America is doing working with Doctor Doom on this team. Things must be getting very desperate. But what I do know is that when Doctor Doom attacks, he can only be blocked by either villain or sidekick die. Now I know Luke has no villain characters on his team, so he's going to have to use his sidekicks if he wants to block the damage that I could do directly to him. There's also a global ability here, and it says that if you have a villain die fielded and you pay 1 shield energy, you can give a target character -1 attack and -1 defense, potentially knocking that character out. Maybe Cap agreed to have Doctor Doom on the team because, well, with that metallic face, Magneto should be able to keep him in line if he gets out of hand. Okay, I'm really having to stretch to explain this addition to the team. But at one time, Venom was part of the Avengers. An Avengers team put together by Harry Osborn, aka the Green Goblin. So it's a real stretch to say that Venom is an Avenger similar to Captain America and Black Widow, but let's go with that. His ability is that non-fist characters can't block Venom. And he has a global ability that says you can pay a fist energy to spin an opponent's fist character down 1 level. And the theme of my team has been saved. It's Loki. So clearly each individual character on my team has been mind-controlled to believe that the other characters are ones they would normally work with. Maybe Captain America is seeing Venom as Hulk. Doctor Doom thinks he's working with a cast of villains. And Deadpool, well, Deadpool doesn't care one way or the other. No matter the explanation, clearly Loki has something against these X-Men. When Loki is fielded, you take control of an opposing character. And then at the end of the turn, you knock that character out, placing it in your opponent's prep pile. But then that character does its full attack value damage to the opponent. Remember, when you have a controlled die, it goes on top of the die that's controlling it. So Loki would then no longer be able to attack or defend. But the die on top of it can still be sent out to attack and defend. And the controlled die also gets the ability of the card used by your opponent. My first chosen basic action card is Invulnerability. During a turn in which this action is used, a player's attacking characters return to their field when they're knocked out instead of going over to the prep area. There's also a global ability that allows you to spend 1 bolt energy to give 1 target character +1 attack for the turn. Finally, this is Thrown Car. It's a basic action that allows you to give +1 attack to 2 different characters. And if those characters attack during the turn, the excess attack value they have beyond the blocker's defense is applied as damage directly to the opponent. So there you have it, Luke's team and my team, as voted on by a group of eclectic gamers. And who can say whether or not these teams are going to play well together, thematically or gameplay-wise? Because what I wanted people to do was just pick their favorite characters and see what came out of that mix. And here's what we've got. But it just goes to show you, even as I was talking through the different characters on my team, I figured out a way to get them together thematically, and that's because, well, they're superheroes, and you can just about imagine anything if you put your mind to it. Now, one thing I do want to mention, this game involves a lot of dice rolling and re-rolling, and the dice are smaller, the numbers on them are meant to be seen at the table. To give you a scope of the overall gameplay, I have to set the camera back a bit, and that means you won't be able to see the details on the dice. Remember, we don't have a separate camera operator here who can do all that zooming in and out for me. So in order to do that, it would involve a lot of stopping and starting, which would really disrupt the gameplay that we're trying to bring to you here. So what I would recommend is watch the playthrough on a nice large screen at 1080p. That's going to give you the best chance of seeing those details, but also we'll work very hard to explain the dice that are being rolled and the results of those die rolls so you can follow along very easily. But until that playthrough and the next episode, thanks for watching.